So if risk perception is their god, then the natural question that arises is, why do they fear activists more than they do gamers? You see, analysts, activists learned how to hijack the risk radar long ago. Gamers can crash servers for a weekend, but activists, they can crush careers overnight. You see, it's almost like gamers are throwing stones at castle walls, whilst the activists are the ones who are close to the king, who slip in a rumor in his ear that there is a traitor amongst his royal guards. Kind of like how Lao Fang in Avatar The Last Airbender is the guy who's actually spitting poison into the king of Ba Sing Se, telling him that there is no war in Ba Sing Se. We have never lived in a more peaceful time. A peaceful era, my lord, brought about by your strength and wisdom. Whilst the gamers are basically the Avatar and his crew, flying up the walls, trying to infiltrate Ba Sing Se. You know, there's a war, but Ba Sing Se doesn't need that. They don't even listen to you. And in the kingdom of managers and CEOs, fear isn't something that comes from armies. It comes from reputation missiles. I mean, take a look at Insomniac, for example. Now, I don't know if this was the director or maybe it was just the marketing dude, but after fans were clowning Mystique for looking like Mansteak more than Miss, here's how Insomniac actually replied to that tweet. And you see, that little emoji right there tells you almost exactly, or should I say more precisely, it tells you everything you need to know. They don't fear you, the paying customer, because your outrage doesn't increase risk at all. But a few activists with the right connections yelling sexist or misogynist or NAZI, that's a stock drop waiting to happen. Here's a truth that I recently learned, that CEOs aren't afraid of losing customers. Isn't that crazy? They don't fear losing customers. You know what they fear? They're scared of losing narrative control. You see, when a gamer cancels a pre-order, you know what that shows up as for the CEOs? Just a frown on a spreadsheet. But when an activist drops the word bigot or homophobe, that is a nuclear mushroom cloud on their LinkedIn feed. Because the managerial world runs on two things: perception and permission. These are the two currencies. You lose either one and you're done. A single headline can evaporate years of brand equity. What's brand equity, I hear you ask? Brand equity is simply the perceived value or worth that consumers attach to a company. It's basically why a consumer would pay an extra $500 for the new iPhone 17 compared to them actually forking out an extra $500 for maybe a Huawei or a Samsung. That's what we call brand equity. So you see, that's why managers don't fear failure. They fear blame. Because the thing is, gamers speak in refunds. Activists speak in headlines. And headlines speak directly to the board. You could call it something like the risk economy, where every outrage is currency and every apology is like a tax payment. That's why they patch ideology before they patch bugs or gameplay, because one affects your fun, but the other affects their jobs. I mean, you've seen it countless times. You saw Disney doubling down on ideology even though they were bleeding billions. 6 box office flops in 1 year. Nearly $1 billion gone, flushed down the drain. Any sane company would have pivoted, but they didn't. Why is that? Because money doesn't lead. Money follows risk. So, it wasn't stupidity, it was calculation. Losing cash felt safer than losing face. And I guarantee you, if they could go back and do it again, they would do the exact same thing. That's not wokeness. That's the managerial disease. And it's why basically your outrage doesn't actually move the needle. Because to the corporate mind, you are merely a cost. You are not a contagion. And until gamers learn how to speak the language of contagion, until we learn how to infect the risk radar They'll keep dropping those clown emojis and selling you broken games until the end of time. Because essentially these guys, they know something that we don't. They know that your anger, you can get lost in it. The path ahead is difficult. And you, Atreus, are clearly not ready. Ah, my god. Sorry about that. My schizophrenia is getting the best of me. What I meant to say was, your anger isn't dangerous. It's predictable. You rage, you refund, you move on. But then the companies put their games on sale, and you come back and you pick it up. Sales rise just that much. But the activists don't move like that. No. You see, the activists, they stay, they coordinate, they multiply, they spread like a virus. They speak with one voice. I mean, goodness, they sound like a crisis report. That's why studios ignore your bug reports but panic over a blogger's tweet. Because you're safe to ignore. I know it hurts, but that's what the managers think. That's how they see you. That's how they see us. But the activists, they're not. You can refund the game, but the activists, they can destroy careers. It's almost like we show up at a battlefield with our bare fists, and the opponent shows up with Mjolnir, and they simply decimate the battlefield. It's not even a fair fight. And you see that power imbalance right there is what keeps the machine running. It's not fear of the people, it's perception. Not loyalty to ideology, but loyalty to survival. The CEOs don't kneel to activists because they agree with them, because they're tight like that. No, they kneel because in their world, the loudest voice isn't the most truthful. It's the most dangerous one.